To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program Citizens Focus on Education with Mark Thompson. Hello and a warm welcome to the program Citizens Focus on Education, coming to you from our studio at Radio Mount Orel on FM 107.3. I am Musa Baisise. In today's edition of the program, we shall take a look at the IAM Tech College, which has over the years contributed a lot in the educational aspect of this country. Well, to know all about the IAM Tech College, my colleague Mark Thompson engaged Professor Roslyn Eme Oyanga, the Chief Executive Officer of the IAM Tech College.
I have been affiliated more or less. I've had so much contact with IAM Tech since 2011 when I used to come as a visiting professor. And during this period, I realized that there's so much to be benefited from this institution. The institution has so much potential, especially in these days that we are going global. The world is no longer static. IAM Tech is an institution that is highly digital, highly computerized, so much technology. And these things, attracted my interest to such an extent that I decided, after having come in to save each year as a visiting professor, to come in and spend a longer period to see how we could move the institution forward, especially towards working it towards its autonomous status. So that's why I've been here. I came in here in 2018-19 academic session, sometime late last year, and I'm still here working towards the progress of the institution.
So when you say working towards the autonomous of this institution, what exactly do you mean?
Well, I think this institution has saved this nation for quite a long time. From the history of the college, I've seen that we have been in existence for the past 28 years, and we have contributed significantly to the building of this nation, especially in the area of computer science, technology, human capacity building, in several areas, in management, because of the type of courses, these specialized courses that are run in this institution. So I believe it's old enough, it has come of age for it to have to achieve a status that really befits it. By the time you came into the campus, you must have seen quite a lot of development here, which would tell you that we are yearning to be on our own, and that's why I've come to contribute my quota, even if I've come to contribute my quota towards the achievement of this goal.
So you said you have contributed so much in terms of capacity building in the area of the courses that you are offering. So someone who may want to really come into this college may want to know exactly what are some of these courses that you are offering that are marketable out there for people.
We have those specialized courses like, let me begin from the School of Management. We have business administration, degree courses in business administration, human resource management, marketing, development studies, accounting, and in fact at the diploma level we even have more courses, more diversified courses in the area of management. Then when we come to the School of Technology, we have courses like electronics and telecommunications, we have information and communications technology, the in thing now in the whole world, ICT. We have, which other course again? We have networking and telecommunications, a lot of those information management systems. Exactly. Yes, we have those ones. And of recent, we have been thinking of bringing in business information systems to add to the information management systems. And these courses have so exposed our students to the world of work, because presently you cannot be talking about having a job anywhere without having good knowledge of the computer. And I believe we make sure that our students are well grounded with the skills, not just the theoretical computer, but practical knowledge of use of computer, so that they can go out and fit into any organization where they are employed to perform. In fact, here I think we produce students not just for Sierra Leone but for the universal world, because about 2 weeks ago, one of our students who happens to work in the UK came in. He didn't have any difficulty when she went to look for a job. As a diploma student, even the diploma graduate, he was able to get a job immediately because of the computer proficiency in computer. computer. So these are the things our strength lies in this computer and management information systems. As you know, that's the direction the world is going now. That's the trend.
Yeah. So you said that's the way the world is going now, and you also said you are not only relying on the theoretical aspects of learning but also the practical. So one may want to know, how equipped is your lab?
Oh my God, you need to go around to see what our laboratories look like. If we didn't have functional laboratories, we would not be talking about entrepreneurship. We are very skilled in the area of entrepreneurship. Our students, a lot of our students go out and they don't even look for a job. They employ themselves. For instance, if you open this club now, you see some of the phone numbers of our students who are working, having their private businesses, all because they are skilled. They don't just come and acquire the theoretical knowledge, they are practically skilled. They are skilled to perform. And so, as a reason for that, we have about 3 functional laboratories, industrial hubs where students perform, and we have very experienced people too to lead them, to see them through, to supervise them, and to put them through the practical skills. Our proprietor in the first place is a multi-skilled personnel. He cannot stay 1 minute without seeing somebody doing one thing practically. So we go around and make sure that the students that learn in the institution have ample time to do the practicals. And that's why when we talk about our curriculum being split into the lecture period, the tutorial periods, and the practical periods, we mean business, because the practical periods are duly followed, the tutorial periods are duly followed, and the lecture periods are duly followed.
So how qualified and equipped are your lecturers in terms of handling these areas that you are talking about?
We make sure that for a lecturer to be assigned a module, he is a specialist in that area. We make sure we do that. That's why we have a director of academic affairs who sees to all those things with the help of the deans of the faculty of the schools. So you must be skilled in their area. You must be a specialist in their area before you are assigned to teach a course. We have, I think, the minimum qualification we have for our lecturers is a master's level. We stick to that very jealously. We do not allow anybody that doesn't have that qualification.
So you're talking about you want to be autonomous institution, and we are also aware of the fact that we have a University of Sierra Leone, which other colleges are yearning to affiliate themselves with. So how are you affiliating yourself with the University of Sierra Leone?
We have not affiliated ourselves so much with the University of Sierra Leone. We are affiliated to Njala University because from my observation, Njala University seems to be doing more practical courses too. Education is not just to be educated for its own sake. You must be educated to be able to have a skill to contribute. And we can see that Njala University is a bit tilted to the functionalism in education, which is also our interest. So we are affiliated to Njala University, and we would have so loved to be affiliated to University of Sierra Leone if only they are doing the courses that are akin to our own courses.
Is it that you just choose Njala University over the university? Because one may say, or the University of Sierra Leone may argue the fact that they are also offering ICT courses that you are offering here. So is it that you just prefer Njala to that of University of Sierra Leone?
I think University of Sierra Leone, their own strength in the area of ICT may not. We are I'm sorry to say, I think we are just somewhere in the area of ICT, and maybe they are just coming up, because I attended your convocation the other time. I was hearing that you are trying to think of how to stop examination malpractice, look for this surveillance cameras, those things we had done since 2011 when I came here, and we are far ahead of such things. Even as we're having this interview now, I'm sure if you go up to our monitoring room, you will see yourself, in our monitoring camera. Those are the things, those facilities are right here, and they have been even before I started coming in 2011. Those are the things I fell in love with when I arrived here. Here we don't teach with these blackboards or whiteboards. We teach with smart boards, and all our students are expected to come with their laptops, because when the lecturer is teaching, he is working with his laptop. If you go to our classrooms, that's what you will see. You go right now into the lecture rooms, you see the lecturers teaching with the smart boards and their laptops. That's the standard we have reached.
And according to some people, the demand in terms of fees is very high in this college.
No. I think that's where you have it wrong. I think think we have the lowest so far in the whole country, and we have a condition that enables students to come in conveniently, because we make them to pay in 2 installments, 50% in the first semester, 50% in the second semester. Even the admission fee is even lower. The other day I was reading in the papers that the government is paying admission fee for some universities at 350,000. Here is about 250,000. The forms are bought at 200. It's cheaper. I think we are the cheapest institution, and we give this consideration to the students so that they can come in and study. And apart from that, the college gives scholarship to needy students who are reading a diploma. It may not be for all, but when you see that somebody is really a needy, physically challenged, needy, and we are convinced, we give some, not to everybody, but to some extent we assist maybe 2, 3, 4 per year, up to 5 per year, to enable people, acquire their education, but not at the degree level anyway, but at the diploma level. Yes, that's what happens.
You are from Nigeria, and everybody knows that there are a lot of institutions, colleges and universities in Nigeria. So one may want to know if in the future there is going to be any kind of interconnection between this college and colleges in Nigeria.
Definitely. We are thinking of having some collaboration, because of course education is linkages and collaboration. You cannot be an island. So we are thinking of seriously having collaboration with some other universities in Nigeria as time goes on.
Okay, every institution has their own requirements in which students must have to fulfill to enter into the particular institution. So one may want to know, what are the entry requirements for the AMTech?
Well, our prospectus spells it out very clearly. And since AMTech is just like every other tertiary institution in Sierra Leone and everywhere in the world, we do not think of ever bringing down our standards. We make sure that you have the required 5 credits before you have admission here. And since we are a technologically oriented institution, we insist on, among the 5 credits, there must be English and mathematics. Because our general modules, whatever course you read, you must have some idea of mathematics. You will do it when you start the GS courses here. And English, communication skills. This is one of our communication skills this year.
When you say 5 credits, does that also apply to the diploma students?
The diploma students have 4. That's why, in fact, if you want to come in and read a degree, and we discover that you don't have 5 credits, we advise you. We have advisors, academic advisors in the various departments. We advise you. You are not qualified for a degree program unless you go home and write your O-level again. Do you accept to do a diploma program? Do you prefer to do a diploma program if you don't want to go in for the O-level? And they say yes. Those that accept it take up the diploma programs, and those that still insist on having a degree program should have their complete 5 credits, including English and mathematics.
So in the area of applications, how are people applying? The amount of people that are applying to the college, how encouraging is the application of students?
We normally have a crowd wanting to come and read here. Some people will tell you they don't want to go anywhere else, they want to read in IMTech. And in fact, one of the reasons why as soon as we put up our matriculation, we make sure that there is no more, when we finish our matriculation, we no longer entertain any more admissions. But you see, even after the matriculation, people are still coming, crying. But we send them away and tell them to come back the following academic session. So we normally, the demand is quite high because of what we have here. Don't look at the size of the campus. It's the content of the campus. We don't need to go horizontally. We don't need to grow horizontally. As you can see, we are growing vertically.
So do you have the capacity in terms of structure, the building, to accommodate all of those students that you said, there are crowd coming in every year?
Yeah, we have a lot of classrooms here. If you take some time to go upstairs, you will see so many classrooms right there. They have about 19 large rooms, all furnished with good chairs and tables, smart boards, for lectures to be taken. We equally have the multi-purpose hall for examinations, about 3 big halls this way for all examinations. And in addition to those halls, we also have these classrooms for smaller classes during exams. And when we have the general models, the general GS courses, we use the halls with the public address system to teach the students. And then with monitoring, these surveillance cameras to see those that are not attending lectures, those that are not taking notes when the lecturer is teaching, those that we can call and say, come, you are not taking your work seriously, or even the lecturer that does not appear for lecture, we say, you had a class so and so time, your students were waiting in hall 1 or hall 2 or hall 3, and you were nowhere to be found. We do that to monitor, survey, surveillance to know functionality and efficiency.
There is this problem or this challenge which the country is facing in terms of the WASSCE exams in which people are taking to come into colleges and universities, and there's this talk around people bypassing the system by getting fake results and acquiring results from malpractice or so. So we want to know if there are structures in place in terms of people bypassing the system for you to identify them and also stop them from coming in.
We can't even, in fact, anybody that brings a result, we cross-check with WAEC. Anybody that brings a result, we have we have the package to cross-check with WAEC to know that. Some students are very smart these days.
Yeah.
They go print anything from the internet, alter and bring. We cross-check with the WAEC to know whether what you have submitted is truly your result. And if it's found that you fake your result, you are shown the way out. You cannot matriculate. You cannot become.
So as we are coming to the end of this interview, one we also want to know exactly what should people be thinking of, what should people be seeing in the future about this college in terms of progress, in terms of education?
Even without saying in the future, presently, I believe in Sierra Leone, we have made a mark. Seriously. Beginning from when you land at the airport, you see IAMTech in all the workers there. You come to the seaport, if you are crossing the ferry, you see IAMTech students, graduates there. I think we have made a mark. And in the ministry, I think it's the same thing everywhere. Why? Because our strength lies in the ICT we started 28 years back. I believe with this and with the new programs that are coming up, especially at the diploma level, because we are not autonomous, so we cannot, start running programs without being given the permission to do that. But at the diploma level, most of these courses that we are running, like I've mentioned, I've not been able to mention all of them, but there are quite many, have given us the edge over so many other institutions here in Sierra Leone, which makes me believe that our contribution in the area of development is great. IAMTech has gone really far. In fact, it is because of our contribution to the nation that we have won this Diaspora Focus Award consecutively, in 2017-18 and 18-19. And who knows what will happen in 19-20? Nobody knows. But I am convinced that this institution is not doing badly, especially in capacity building for this nation and even beyond. In the area of, should I say, students, female students, development of the female, capacity building for the females, I think we are not doing badly at all, because we encourage the female. I stay as a role model for me. A lot of them come in to see me. They say, oh, mommy, I want you to adopt me. Mommy, I want to be like you tomorrow. I say, great. Just work harder, you can make it. So we are contributing in capacity building in both males and especially in the area of females capacity building. And I think that's a big applause for this institution. We are concerned about the development of the people here, and we want to contribute to country for humanity.
So finally on this whole issue about IAMTech, we also want to know about, apart from learning, are there any extracurricular activities in which the college is embarking on?
Yes, we have sports. Like, I don't know whether you heard about our inter-campus, what do we call that thing? Inter-sports fair that we had at Solomon campus, where all the campuses converged at Solomon campus at Lone Star to do the annual sports event, came out with prizes. We all celebrated here, the first prize, second prize, and so on. So we have sports events. At times too, we also have indoor events to make the recruit the students.
You have different campuses.
Yes, we have about 5 satellite.
Tell us a little bit about them.
We have a satellite campus here is the main campus with a study center at Brookfields, there in the west. Then we have a Lone Star campus, Solomon campus at Lone Star. We have another campus at Kono. We have another campus at Cambia. And we have another campus at Bo. And each of these are manned by campus deans. Those campus coordinators We have a structure for them, deputy coordinators, we have finance officers at that side, and student affairs officers, those that take care of the students in each of the campuses. And so every semester, the people with the management from the main campus go around to survey and see how they are in tune with the policies of the main campus here, so that we work together as a team. And when we have a general staff meetings, like we just had a staff meeting last week, all the campuses come. They come here and we have a general staff meeting. Then they go back with whatever information they have to cascade the information to their own lecturers in the respective satellite campuses.
And you're all doing the same programs?
Everything. We maintain that uniformity. For quality assurance, we make sure that everything is done the same way. During examinations, we dispatch people from here who go supervise to see how the examinations are conducted. During projects, we make sure you don't graduate if you don't defend your thesis. And we have a thesis committee, the dissertation committee that goes from here to examine both our own campus students with Brookfields and the people in the satellite campuses. We representatives from our Njala University, which is our affiliate institution.
That was Rosalind Emme Oyanga, the Chief Executive Officer of the IAMTech College, talking there to Citizen's Mark Thompson. That's how we end the first half of the program, Citizen's Focus on Education, with me, Musa Baisise. Continue listening as I'll be back with the second half of the program after the news summary.
CTN News, debate and information every day.
To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program Citizen's Focus on Education with Mark Thompson. Welcome to the second half of the program Citizen's Focus on Education with me, Musa Baisise. Coming up in this second half of the program, we shall be looking at the Peace and Conflict Studies Department and its relevance. Well, to know about the Peace and Conflict Studies Department at Furabe College and its relevance, I engaged Dr. Alex Silvali Mbayo, the head of department of the Peace and Conflict Studies, Furabe College.
Most times we teach our students, it's not something we can just define in one sentence and to capture all that it means. Many authors have profiled definitions of conflict. Conflict, some authors say, is defined as threatening, uncertain, fragile. Some others view conflict as a bargaining situation in which there exists the opportunity for one party to influence the other. Conflict can also mean difference, disparity, disagreement. For the layman, for them to understand, that is why I'm giving these definitions. But conflicts generally arise when individuals or groups of people, in their drive to meet their needs and interests, pursue goals that are perceived to be incompatible. Incompatibility here is the underlying word. When we have differences in interests, we have differences in needs, differences in achieving, meaning the goals that we pursue to achieve a means. When they are different, sometimes conflict arises. But conflict goes beyond just this simplistic definition I have given you. When we say conflict, actually in the study of conflict, it means violent conflict. Like I always tell people, difference cannot really lead to the conflict we are studying today. There are many issues of conflict, even our heights, our skin color, the way we talk, the way we look, are all differences. But that actually is not the issue that really leads to conflict. It is when we now go beyond the differences and to make sure maybe the differences that we have is seen as negative or positive, or you may want to impose whatever is your own wish or your own difference on the other that may have a different idea or different interest in all that we do. That is what leads to conflict. When we say conflict here, we're talking about something violent, something that creates mayhem, something that brings destruction, that leads to either death, injury, and that kind of thing. That is the kind of conflict we refer to. But like I can always say, and we have always told people, conflict is necessary. Because without conflict, definitely there are some developments that may not occur. We need to have difference. And that is what makes it very nice, even when we are different. And so, like I said at Bintumani, difference is what makes us unique. When we all come to the table with our differences and put all together positively, use those differences, we're going to see a unique nation, and we'll be able to move this nation forward.
If there had not been any conflict, there would have been any reason to, for instance, talk about peace?
Conflict is always with us because there's always different. If you're not tall, you are short. If you're not fair, you're black. If you're not stammery, you talk fast. So all of these differences can lead to conflict, meaning the way we look at them or the way we may want to use them can lead to conflict. And so difference is always with us. So because difference is always with us, conflict will always be with us.
There is always a need for us also to talk about how to harmonize those differences.
Of course. I mean, when they arise, where we are able to prevent them, that will be fine. But in the situation where we are not able to prevent conflict from happening, we manage it. And in managing it, we can resolve it. And that is what is necessary always to compromise, come together and talk. We need to be talking as human beings because we are social beings. No matter what, our needs, our interests, our aspirations, our goals are all different. But in the context of pursuing all of this, somebody might hurt somebody might injure somebody might see somebody as being a barrier to achieving his own goal. And that is where conflict arises. Mm-hmm. And so there is need, like you have said, for us all to come together, compromise, and to see how we can forge a way forward as to benefit society or individuals, as the case may be.
So how normally do we manage conflicts when it erupts?
Oh, there are different ways we can approach conflict. One is a management approach, and the other is a resolution approach. To manage, sometimes we can withdraw, sometimes we can use force, sometimes we can contend, sometimes we can compromise. There are different ways we can manage. But management most times do not lead to resolution, because if you withdraw or you avoid, the conflict is still here. But when you want to really resolve and to make sure the conflict comes to an end, sometimes we use mediation, arbitration, negotiation, and some other means, compromise, or problem solving, all these mechanisms that we use to approach conflict.
All right, so Doc, let's talk about the departments properly now, the Peace and Conflict Studies Department. Let's start with the entry requirements of this department.
The entry requirement to our department is not that different from the general entry requirement to the university. Actually, we are looking for 5 subjects. WAS, C5
for the degree?
Or better for the degree, C5. Let me start by saying that we have 2 components of programs we run. We have a diploma program, we have a degree program. Students who normally come for the degree program but do not meet the criteria, like I have told, the university regulation or criteria is 5 subjects with a minimum or maximum of C5 or a better. And so sometimes I'm with a C5 in English or a better. That is a condition. For the faculty, which is the Faculty of Social Sciences and Law, maths is a criteria. But for us, Peace and Conflict Studies and Social Work, we are exempt. Maths is not a criteria for us. It's only English and 4 other subjects, which I have said you have to have a C5 or a better. That calls for a degree program. But most times students come and do not have a C5 in English. They may have all other grades that may be A1, B2, but may have a C6 in English. If that is the case, you have to go in for the diploma course. Diploma course is a 2-year program and it's a terminal course. You finish that one and you go down. That is how it was designed. But those drafters or those designers thought it fit that students come normally and may want to continue the degree program, but because they are not qualified, they do not have a 5 or a better in English, they go for the diploma, hoping that they will enter. And so there has been a link created between the diploma and the degree. But even as you finish the diploma, even when you finish and maybe you get the grade point, you have to also apply. That tells you have finished one program, but now you are at the verge of entry on that program. That is why you have to buy the form and apply for the degree. But most times, because they have done so well and they have met the criteria, which is the grade point, they don't come for interviews. We just incorporate them into year 2. That also, like I said, emphasize, has to do with your grade point. There are 3 grade points involved when you're in the diploma course. Those who get below 2.5 will be given their certificates and they leave, because I have told it's a terminal course. And those who get 2.5 and up to 2.79 will go to degree year 1. Those who get 2.8 and above will go straight to degree year 2. That is how the course is structured. That is the diploma course. Coming to the degree course, because that is where people apply directly, even when they have the 5 words. You have to have 5 words or O-levels, as it was called before, and with a maximum or a minimum of C5, like I have said, or a better. But sometimes a lot of students may apply this, the number is large. So there comes in also the grade, the quality of the grade. So if you have all C5, 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 somebody comes in with A1, B2, and that kind of thing, may be considered first before you. But that is the minimum criteria. 5 subjects, a C5 minimum.
Okay,
for the degree program.
So what's the passing mark generally for someone to say, oh, my grade has been up and then I think I passed this subject or this module?
Well, basically the university requirement also, a pass for the university, I think, is a 40. But I'm not sure students, particularly students who are determined, students who come here they want to graduate with a high quality degree, may not go in for 40. But if you get a 40, I do not know the equivalent now, I may check, but I will have to check. I think it's a C minus equivalent.
But it's still a passing mark.
It's still a pass. As long as you get a C minus, it's a pass still. You are supposed to move to another level. But normally most students, I mean those who are really determined, are aiming at an A. That is a 70 or above, it's an A. Below that a little bit, you get a B plus. So most of our students, I mean generally they do well. Very few will fall into that category of the 40s. But it's still a pass, and that can take you to another level.
What can you say about the enrollment of students at the Peace and Conflict Studies
The
Department?
enrollment has been fantastic. It's just that, I mean, the pressure was taken off our department when the social work department was instituted. And then now there is also gender. But it used to be huge, because this is the discipline that people really are looking forward to. But when you look at the world today, even as we are seeing conflicts all over the place, UN was instituted for all of that. So our course is really, really vital, more important. When you do our course, you graduate in Peace and Conflict Studies, the world is open unto you. There are many vast areas because we do almost everything, including mathematics, all subjects, the environment, human rights, law, international law, we do natural resources, many things. And so when we finish with our course, or when you're done with our course, if you did very well, you're open to the world. And so like I said, the pressure has been taken off for us. But even as we speak, the student population we have is huge compared to other departments, because the need is always there. People are always coming to our department because they have now realized that when you have a peace degree, the tendency for you to have a job is a little higher compared to when you do the arts. I'm not demeaning these ones, I'm not trying to criticize them, I'm not trying to underrate them. You do history or English, sometimes people may say you end up in the classroom, but when you do peace, you're open to many, many options in terms of jobs.
Yes, just as you are emphasizing on the importance of studying peace and conflict, but it's on the records that officials of past government, so to speak, few of them, at least one or two, actually made some statements that peace and conflict studies is not relevant at all in present day Sierra Leone.
That statement, or wherever it's coming from, is unfortunate, my brother, because when you look at what the world is even going in for today, why was the UN created? Because of situations of conflict, and we have seen that all over the world. So I can remember somebody who had worked for the UN made this statement. It's not him alone. More other people or political people placed in society have made these statements. But that is unfortunate, like I said, because we don't even need to say anything. When you look at our world today, let's even come to Sierra Leone. Bintumani 1, Bintumani 2, Bintumani 3. Why are we yearning for this thing if it was not a very valuable good? Peace is a criteria, or is a condition in which development takes place. Without peace, nothing works. Peace is like the womb within which the baby grows until it's given back to by its mother. So peace is a necessary criteria or a condition within which we need to operate. When it is absent, nothing works.
Okay. So do you have any type or types of peace?
Of course, we have what we call negative peace. Negative peace is what we are experiencing today in Sierra Leone. And that is why even those that you are referring to, we are saying there is no war. So why do we actually need the study of peace? Peace is not just about war. Peace actually is about creating an enabling environment. It's about making sure that people are able to carry out their activities. It is about observing human rights. It's about rule of law operating. It's about how we are able to live amicably, even in the midst of our differences, and be able to foster our aims and aspirations, in a cool atmosphere, in a condensed atmosphere, an atmosphere that will allow everybody else to realize their own aspirations. and skills, and to better themselves and to better the nation as a whole.
And you just mentioned that we are having what is called a negative peace as a country.
Negative peace, let me complete, there is also positive peace.
Yeah.
Negative peace actually is the absence of war, but nothing is working. Talk about the food system, talk about health system, talk about the education system, talk about jobs. All of this is human rights violations. All of these things may be going on, but because there is no war, people say, we don't need to study peace. But all of these things are tied down to peace. How do we see the other? Is everybody getting what they are supposed to get? Is everybody having access to education? Do people have drinking water? Do people have food? Are people getting jobs? Are people free to go about their business? Are they empowered enough? Are women coming on board? Are we involving everybody or stakeholders? All of these things involve. So if these things are not working, although we might not have war, then there is negative peace. Positive peace means we have addressed the root causes. Like I said during the Bintumani conference, what I see as the root causes of conflict in Sierra Leone has to do with lack of nationalism, lack of patriotism, and the third aspect is patriarchy. I do not really want to go into all of those definitions, but these three core, to me, as a conflict specialist, definitely are the root causes of conflict. All of these things we see, the fighting, the burning, the stabbing, the sackings, and all of these things are just coming out of all of these three things I have said. Lack of patriotism, lack of nationalism, and patriarchy. And so in Sierra Leone, we have negative peace, but even as the president has thought it fit, because he is also a scholar of peace and conflict, he thought it fit that we have to address these root causes. I'm glad that he called Bintumani 3, because that is where we're going to start. Like I've always told people, we have never been building peace, or we have never built one. Why? Because you can't build peace without the infrastructure, which is the Peace Commission. When the UN wanted to do it, they built their own, they put together their own infrastructure, which involved the Peace Building Fund, the Peace Building Commission, and the Peace Building Office. Support office, something like that. So you have to have the infrastructure. So without it, you're not going to be able to address issues of conflict.
With all efforts being made.
Yes, I commend all of those ones, like the TRC, the Special Court, those other steps that have been taken. But to actually build peace, two things. Justice will have to be involved. And truth will have to come out. Reconciliation will have to be undertaken. Then you now build peace, because you're bringing people together who have been at loggerheads, people who have fought one another, people who are enemies. Justice and the truth are the basis for reconciliation, and reconciliation is now followed up by peace building.
So come back and focus on peace. Well, let's still continue with discussions with regards to the Peace and Conflict Studies Department, and I suppose you do have some challenges as a department. Can you take us through some of those?
The challenges has to do, one, with classrooms. Every year, huge students apply to come to us or don't have classrooms. Sometimes, like for diploma classes, one of the, like Diploma 1, will take up to 200 or 250 students. There's no classroom here except Strasakin building there. There's a classroom that is big enough to take. But there are also other classes like social work. Yeah? And there is this issue of foundation course. The classes are so large. So most times that is one of the major things we really struggle. Another problem we envisage has to do with materials, reading materials. A very good library. A library office, for peace studies alone. Because we know it's a field that is evolving. It's a field where people are finding out, they are producing materials, knowledge is being sought, and people are writing. So we need to upgrade our knowledge about what is happening all over the world, because our study is intertwined. It relates to America, relates to Europe, what is happening in Europe, what is happening in Asia. We need to know, because we learn from these issues. And so we are able to guard ourselves or to prepare ourselves. And when we see signs of what we may have experienced or read about other places, then we may be able to step in and address them. So that is another problem also, materials, reading materials. It also has to do with staff, basically, because most times university is cash-strapped. So we are definitely not able to bring on board a number of staff that may want to teach the individual or the specific related area. So you find out that in my department we have just like 8 full-time staff. The other areas that have to do with international law and some other areas, we bring in people from town. Yeah, they volunteer and they teach for us. So basically these are some of the things. Yeah, has to do with money, the financing, the materials, the space for our students, and that kind of thing. I mean, it's not very different from other departments, because other departments are also, the university as a whole is envisaging all of this. So I think there is need to expand the university, build more classrooms, infrastructure, make sure the classrooms are fitted with today when we're talking about teaching peace, we should be teaching modern things, so we should be using modern technology, where maybe we can connect to other situations out there. We can bring in things on the internet, from YouTube. We show our students live issues, but we don't have all of these things. I mean, we even need to be using PowerPoint presentations in our classes, but these are yet things, I mean, we are yet to really enjoy. So we are still using the manual means, and I think it's a little difficult. But yeah, maybe we are making do with whatever we have until we get to where we want to be. Then I know things are going to improve. And I know, I mean, there's light at the end of the tunnel. With this emphasis on quality education, I know that the government may have in mind, after dealing with the primary, the secondary, they will turn their attention to the tertiary. We are hoping that things will be improved.
All right, so what have you so far, if at all, done to ensure you ameliorate some of these challenges?
With a large number, sometimes we split the numbers. One module we can split into two. The teachers can split into two and teach these modules, the same module, at two different times. That is how we have been managing the large numbers. With staff, we share, those that are available, we share the modules amongst ourselves. Although sometimes we can go beyond the number of hours we teach. But I mean, that is not a problem. We are still coping. Or where we need other experts, need other people who may come in, we bring in volunteers to help teach those areas. And so we are coping gradually. Some of the things, like for books, some of us, that is what we do. When we travel, we buy books. That is how we help students, because most of the books in the library are obsolete now. So we need to really upgrade our library. So that is what lecturers do. Most of us who travel, when we go out, we buy books that are recent, when we come, we share it with our students. That is what we do, because we have to make do. We know we can understand their constraints. We can understand this economic situation in the country. And so we share these notes or these materials we bring. That is how we are able to at least cope and teach things that are very recent.
Emphasizing on the lack of staff and also the huge number of students of the department, had there been any case wherein students will come and there is no lecturer, for instance, or there is no lecture room and so they have to go home?
Many times we have had these problems. I keep telling them, and that is why the university has even resulted to assigning of these big rooms to these big classes I'm talking about, because most times it has happened to me. I have had to confront another lecturer for a class that was assigned to me. Most times these things happen, but as lecturers who are teaching peace or trying to promote peace, we don't need to fight. These things happen. Sometimes we decide to give up and to allow them to use the class if they emphasize. If they understand or they say, this has been assigned to me, this is my class, if he understands and leave, we can use it. We have had to call our classes off most times or reschedule them because of these kinds of things.
So, Doc, what can the Peace and Conflict Studies Department boast of as against other departments of the University of Sierra Leone, also Farbe College?
We boast of students we produce, that is one thing. If you look around the very many places where people are employed, our students are employed in almost every field, including banking, UN, CSOs, NGOs. That's what gives them an edge over some other students, because we are vast, like I told you. If I can tell you, for one semester we do over 30 to 40 modules, right across from diploma to year 4, second semester. So we are talking about 70 or 80 modules. By the time you are graduating, you have dealt with all of these issues. And so you are vast. You might not be a professional in all of these areas, but because you have some foundation, some background, basically that will help you, whatever vocation you might find yourself. Our students sometimes, even in terms of pursuing masters or going to different areas, if you graduate with a very good peace degree, you can go straight into law. You can go straight into environmental studies. You can go straight into human resource. You can go straight into many other fields. UN is open to you. All of it, the NGOs, the international community is open to you, because that is why we try as best as possible to tailor our modules as to suit the employment environment as we see them. That is why we keep changing our modules. We keep upgrading. We keep reviewing as we bring on relevant modules that will provide jobs for our students. That is one advantage we have over them. We have worked with other institutions like Milton Magai. We help them set their own peace and conflict studies. institution or department. We have worked with the police, even as they are now talking about their own training center. We have been working and we continue to work with the military. That is a training academy. We used to train there. We have done many things. We have helped other institutions also build, and even ourselves. It's not just about teaching. We work with NGOs, we train CSOs. All of these ones. So basically, our footprint is all over this place. Even as we speak, most of our students are working for government. They are in government institutions. They are offering their services, and I'm sure they are doing very well because of their background. They are helping those ministries to be able to resolve issues, to be able to come to terms, to compromise, even when conflicts may occur amongst them. So our footprint, my brother, is all over this place.
So is that enough to say the Peace and Conflict Department of Furabe College has contributed so much for the building of the peace of this country?
That is not enough. That is not enough. It's not just about sharing of knowledge. It's about putting hands on deck as to how we are able. Even in Bintumani 3, we were there. Most of the people that really spoke are students from our department, people who have taught, people who have gained knowledge from us, like the present Minister of Tourism was head of Peace and Conflict Studies. And I know how wonderful she's doing. And she's not only contributing to her own ministry, also contributing to the development of other ministries, because they work hand in hand with other ministers to develop whatever we need to develop, because that is the only way we are going to move forward as a nation.
All right, so now as a scholar of peace, do you have any reservations as to the state of peace in the country?
We have to be optimistic, in as much as we are living in a fragile state. The condition is fragile because you can see the things that are happening. Of late, you heard of the problem with the APC office and that kind of thing when those results were announced in court. Well, we still have fragility around us, but we still can be managed because there is nobody. We're not going to depend on people to come and do it for us. And that is why I'm glad that the Bintumani 3 was instituted, that is going to give birth to the Peace Commission, and all of these issues they will start addressing. I'm sure I want the president to put this commission together as soon as possible, because there are huge problems that need to be addressed. Conflict, like I said, is part of us. That is human nature. But because we have institutions, there are people whom we have confidence in, like the commission that will be creating has to have people who are credible, people who will be fair, people who will not be taking sides either for A or B, but will definitely look at it and call it the name it should be called. And I know there are ways we can step in and try to address all of these issues.
Maybe you can just state a few of those ways.
Mediation, negotiation, like I said. This commission that is being created, or that will be created, is coming out of Bintumani 3. Those are the things that they are going to be taking up. Making sure they go in, sometimes on mediation processes, or negotiation. They can do all of that. Or sometimes, because the negotiation or mediation may not just be the two ways, it can even be arbitration, or it can be going to court, because there are certain issues that need definitely no traditional intervention sometimes. Somebody might say, the only way I'm going to have this addressed is to go to the court. That is also another means of resolving. But to me, when you go to the court, the end result most times is a win-lose situation. And so when you have win-lose situations, there is bound to be another conflict in the making. When somebody loses, for sure, he's not going to be happy. He's going to, lose money. He's going to lose property, or maybe disgrace, maybe jailed, and that kind of thing. It's not going to go away. That feeling, or that thing, or that thought is not going to go away. He might even cascade that one to his children, and they say that family, that is what they did. And so we refer to that as periods of conflict. That might happen. Periods may come up. We are in one reprisals. That is what we are seeing today. One political party attacking because they say yesterday they did this to us. And because it was not addressed, when these others win today, they say we are going to do the same thing. So that is what I think is the situation. But for sure, if the commission is set with credible people who have respect, integrity in society, I'm sure they are going to be able to handle these issues. And we may have a reduction of the conflict scenarios that we see around.
That was Dr. Alex Silva-Limbayo, the head of Department of the Peace and Conflict Studies, Furabe College, talking there to me. That's how we end the program Citizens Focus on Education for this week. If you missed part or the whole program, tune in on Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin. On behalf of my producer, Mark Thompson, I have been Musa Baisise. Goodbye.
CTN News, debate and information every day.